Hello, hello, hello. This is your boy E here with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. Getting ready for yet another amazing episode of Bum Ba Da Da, your favorite wrestling show in the whole entire planet. Thanks to this guy right here. Thanks to this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm for the fans. I'm for the fans. We are all in this together. So, if I'm making success, we all are making success. We're on a rocket ship. A Rocket Man. I don't know if anybody out there is a legend, Elton John kind of guy, me, absolutely. But, totally not keeping it Elton John like, totally not keeping the music. This is a podcast about wrestling, professional wrestling. So, hey, thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today. We will be covering, obviously, definitely our Thursday Night Wrestling review, which includes Ring of Honor, TNA Impact. Also, we have our Friday night's WWE Smackdown preview. Get into that. And I have a segment. Roman Reigns obviously is going to be taking some time off. There's been rumors, and honestly, it's been kind of confirmed that he's going to be in a live action comedy movie. So I think that's super dope. We're going to explore that, and also some other WWE or just wrestlers in general that made the jump into Hollywood features. And to kind of cap it all off, obviously today's Friday, the last day you're going to see me for the weekend. So I'm going to give you guys, my wrestling news roundup. Basically, just something just to head into the weekend, something to hold on to, something to think about, and because I just want you to think about me all the time. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't know, just some cool stuff today in the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast. But before we dig any deeper, I ask you guys to use the Tips of the Nations link. We get a number of questions from viewers like you during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on air, and I ask you guys to use the Tips on Donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net with your questions. This puts your questions up on top so I can see it. We can talk about it. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you want me to further talk about. And everything you bring up, we can definitely talk about it. Online, like a face-to-face conversation about wrestling. Once again, it really helps the show, guys. A nice little positive feedback goes a long, long way. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we love peace, love, and positivity all the way, baby. 1010%. Absolutely. Again, the link is the GSMC podcast.net. So, yeah. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our Thursday night wrestling review. Obviously, you kind of have TNA Impact kind of heading toward its Rebellion pay-per-view on Saturday at the Palms Casino in Las Vegas. Yeah, let's get started. So we had Hammerstone defeating Little Guido, which we kind of saw this happening. Obviously, Hammerstone is kind of like that, kind of like just that dynamite, kind of just that guy that they're grooming, probably to challenge whoever's going to win between Moose and Nick Nemeth. But ultimately, I like Hammerstone. I like what but I also like Little Guido as well. You had the FBI. I remember when FBI was a part of the WWE. I think it was actually brought in by WCW, but don't quote me on that. But I don't know. I don't know. I think Hammerstone right now, he's at that part in his career where he should definitely consider making some steps into some singles championships a little more than he actually already has. I know he's been a part of some tag team bouts in the last couple of months. So honestly, it'd be nice to kind of see him challenge for the men's television championship. That would be pretty cool. Next, we have Joe Henry defeated LSG. LSG, an armbar, an amber, but Henry rolled around the ring, allow Street to avoid it. Henry turned a fall away slam into a gorilla press, which is actually pretty damn impressive. I don't know if any of you guys, you kind of watch wrestling and you kind of have the gorilla press. It's like right here, kind of like when you go to the gym and you have that machine that goes like this. That's called the military press. Ultimately, the gorilla press is the same thing. Go like this, bam, drop him, and then but then he turns it into a power slam, and it's absolutely devastating. It's dominating as a wrestling move for sure. So, next we have the Grizz Young Veterans, which is Zach Gibson and James Drake, and Mustafa Ali defeated Jake Something, Cody Deaner, and Rhino. And I don't know, it's just as well as something that you have Mustafa Ali, the X Division champion, just kind of building momentum after momentum. Right now, he kind of seems like he can't be stopped, which is obviously something that you don't really like. It's no surprise. It's no surprise to me whatsoever because I'm a wrestling fan. I'm also a WWE fan. I saw Mustafa Ali in 205 Live and on Monday Night Raw, and the guy's very, very impressive. I actually really, really hated the fact that he was like, oh. But, whatever, doesn't kill you, make you stronger. So maybe he kind of took that as like a kind of like a kick in the butt, and he was like, you know what? I'm gonna prove those guys wrong. I'm gonna say that you need me. Kind of like when someone breaks up with an ex-girlfriend and she's like, I'm gonna get that revenge. I'm gonna look so good, you're gonna regret leaving me. No, I'm just kidding. No, but Mustafa Ali's definitely going through that revenge, right now. But he's doing good. He's doing very, very good. Next, we have Rosemary defeating Jody Threat. Rosemary got a reverse bear hug to start before eating a clothesline and a power slam for two. Rosemary got a single leg drop before biting Threat in the corner, which is, kind of crazy when I think about biting and combat sports. Obviously, you got to think of my man, Iron Mike Tyson, who's still kind of on the fence of he may or may not be fighting Jake Paul, but I don't know. That match seems like it'd be pretty dope. You know what I mean? So obviously Rosemary pretty pissed off because the reason why she kind of lost that chance to kind of fight a rebellion for the knockouts women's championship was ultimately because of Matt Cardona and Steph D. Launder. So obviously she's kind of pissed. So look for her to kind of start building momentum toward like something absolutely different. So next, you have the TNA Tag Team Champions, The System, Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers, defeated the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, to retain, which is kind of cool because a lot of people were kind of like, this match had high stipulations because the winner faces Speedball Mountain. And I don't know, it's kind of cool that they retained it. I kind of thought, like with Chris Sabin kind of in it, you're like, oh my God, you could never doubt the fallen angel, Chris Sabin. Or no, that's Christopher Daniels, sorry. No, basically the X Division guy. Chris Sabin has been with the TNA for so long. Absolutely. He's like one of the vets. He's kind of making a comparison. I don't want to say Chris Jericho because eventually Chris Jericho moved on to AEW of the WWE, but he's kind of like, around there. When you think of TNA and its history, you kind of think of Chris Sabin. And next we have Nick Nemeth in the Moose promo. Nick Nemeth came out and he basically wanted the crowd to get on his side. Basically, he kind of has that it's impossible to kind of beat this powerhouse in Moose. So I don't know. I'm behind Nick Nemeth. I loved his work in WWE. I kind of wish he didn't leave, but ultimately, like when you kind of have to focus on your own career, you kind of have to make some hard decisions. So obviously, I wish the best for Nick Nemeth. I wish hopefully he wins on Saturday at Rebellion, in Las Vegas. Vegas, baby. Vegas. So, maybe he'll get lucky. Maybe he'll get lucky. Slot machine, maybe. The roulette table, maybe. Or maybe it's just a good old, some good old fashioned, like just, some wrestling fundamentals. I don't know if I really wish that he's going to win, but Moose is just he's so dominant. He's so dominant. It's kind of like Cody Rhodes against Roman Reigns, but just imagine if it was the WrestleMania 2023 night one. So you're kind of like, he could win, but he's most likely not going to, which is kind of crazy. I actually found out that Cody Rhodes was actually supposed to win that match. And they didn't find out until the middle of the match that Cody was going to drop it to Roman Reigns. So, that was kind of crazy. All right, so we have Ring of Honor, Honor Club, episode 60. We had Brian Key defeating Aaron Solo via pinfall. You also have Lance Archer and the Righteous defeated John Cruz, Damian Chambers, and Savion Trudy via pinfall. You also had Lee Johnson defeating JD Drake with the Frog Splash. And then you have Abaddon, I think that's how you pronounce it, defeated Allison Kay. via pinfall with the Black Dahlia. That finisher sounds pretty, just absolutely stunning and badass. So, the Black Dahlia. You have the infantry, which consists of Carly Brown, Bravo, and Sean Dean, defeating the Iron Savages, Boulder and Bronson, which was actually pretty darn cool. You have Layla Hirsch, Kyrie Hogan, and Trish Adora defeating Tyra Valkyrie, Leia Gray, and Diamante. Um, Obviously, this was one of the girls' not triples match. How do you say it? Trios match. No, I think trios match is AEW. I think it's six woman technically, 6 woman tag team match, which is something that I really, really honestly wish that the WWE would kind of band together. Because if you think about it, you kind of have your single superstar, and then part of that single superstar, she could be part of a tag team. Part of that tag team, you could be part of like a 3-man crew, like kind of like your own posse, which is, would be pretty badass, to be honest. So honestly, the WWE, don't be afraid to, adapt to new situations. So, next we have the Beast Mortos defeating Nick Camarado via pinfall. We had Lady Frost defeating Marty Bell via pinfall as well with the temperature drop. And then we have Dark Order defeating Zach Patterson and Frank Milano via pinfall. And then you have the Ring of Honor World Champion Proving Ground, Mark Briscoe, defeating Griff Garrison. I thought this match was actually kind of pretty interesting because the last time Mark Briscoe and Griff Garrison actually fought in a match together was for the Ring of Honor tag team titles, where he was with his brother Jay. Jay ultimately passed away about a year ago. And I don't know, it's kind of crazy how, it all kind of comes to circle. That's kind of like that's just wrestling. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure Griff Garrison, obviously as talented as he is, would pick up the victory. But right now, Mark Briscoe is probably one of the hottest superstars in Ring of Honor. Not even Ring of Honor, probably in just the professional wrestling industry right now. He's kind of like Cody Rhodes. Right now, he's so over with the fans. People love him. People love to root for him, and he's a respectable champion. Obviously, who wouldn't want to root for the common man in the Ring of Honor? So, obviously, Mark Briscoe, definitely, a force to be reckoned with. And yeah, honestly, I'm excited to see him. There's actually a New Japan Wrestling event that's happening in my area Saturday, May 11th, in at Ontario. So I really want to go see that. That would be pretty cool to see. I would love to sit front row and just oh god, that would be a dream. Because whenever I attend wrestling events, there's always everything nowadays is just so expensive, let alone. But I know, just imagine watching a wrestling thing where you kind of have that entrance during the ring, kind of curls around. The best seats in the house are like right here, right in the middle where the camera sees you. But then you also have that corner spot where you kind of have you can see the entrance and also the match at the same time. So honestly, I think those two seats are probably one of the most expensive ones. Probably about a dub, probably about $1,000. But honestly, to kind of see professional wrestling at its heights, I would pay anything. Well, not anything, obviously. A man has his limits, guys. A man has his limits. All right, well, don't you guys go anywhere. Our Thursday night wrestling review is only here to build momentum toward our next segment, which we're going to talk about WWE Smackdown Preview. We have a lot to get to in a short amount of time, so hey, don't go anywhere.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my
All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you guys by the GSMC Sports Network. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about. We have our segment one, Thursday Night Wrestling, and how impressive Mark Briscoe continues to be, as well as TNA Impact Rebellion, which is happening at the Palms Casino and Resort in Las Vegas, Nevada. So make sure you guys tune into that. But before we go absolutely any further, I want to remind you guys to use the tips or donations link so we can talk. Let's talk. We get a number of questions from the viewers that come in during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on air, I ask you guys to use the tips or donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net with your questions. Just put your questions up on top so I can see it, so we can talk about it. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like, tell me what you want me to kind of further elaborate on, or simply just tell me I suck. I'm just kidding. Leave me a positive review. Obviously, we love positive reviews, but I want to be good for you. So honestly, sometimes a little criticism makes the show better. So, basically just, show me that you guys are wrestling fans. Comment on anything that I have to say, anything that you want to be said on air, and we can make it happen. We can have a nice little back and forth conversation. Once again, the link is at gsmcpodcast.net. So yeah, all right, moving on. So we have our WWE Smackdown preview. So SmackDown is absolutely going to be lit. This is the second SmackDown after WrestleMania. But yeah, it's going to be live at the PPG Paint Arena in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So first and foremost, I kind of want to talk about the SmackDown Tag Team Title WWE Tag Team Title number one contenders match. First and foremost, kind of like what happened on WWE Raw between the Awesome Truth. I think Triple H is going to come out, get rid of the SmackDown titles, get rid of the colored belts. Like, I love the colored belts. Like, you have obviously it's black for men and then white for women's. But I don't know. I'm just with the red belt, with the blue belt. Whenever I saw the Fiend kind of come out, and he kind of had the WWE Universal Championship, he'd wear it around his neck, and then you would just see like this band, this blue, this like Smurf blue. It looked like he had like a Smurf wrapped around his neck, like an anaconda or something. So I was like, you know what? It's time for a change. The times they are changing during the Paul Levesque era. So honestly, I think it's a good move to kind of get rid of these colored titles and kind of just make things more like kind of like United, kind of like what I think Triple H is trying to do. Obviously, of course, you will always have the brand split, but forever and as a fan, kind of coming back into the world of wrestling back in 2000 and back in 2016, where you had the Raw tag team titles and the SmackDown tag team titles. Yeah, it's cool. You can have the Raw titles, SmackDown titles, but the belts just look kind of wonky. And that, of course, that's just me. That's just me. That's my opinion. Your guys' opinion could be different. Could be, you could be like, oh, dude, whatever, man. I love the red and blue belts. Like, that's cool. I want to feel like I have a Smurf wrapped around my waist at all time. Like, let's do it. Like, that's all power to you. To each your own. This life is your life. I support it. And I love you. So, whatever each your own. Anyways, so we have the number one, contendership for the WWE Tag Team titles. It's going to be the Street Profits against Pete Dunne and Tyler Bates, Legado del Fantasma, and you also have, AOP. So kind of breaking this down a little bit, like you saw AOP on WWE NXT, kind of feuding with Frazier and also Axiom, kind of going after the titles there. So honestly, I don't really think they really have a chance. If they win the titles, that would be kind of redundant because you're like, well, why would you let these guys go to another show if you're going to give them the gold on SmackDown? Doesn't make sense. So, I don't think that next we have the Legado del Fantasma. I think right now, they're not quite ready yet. I love Angel Garza. I love Humberto Carrillo. We kind of didn't see them on TV for the past year and a half. And kind of made you think, I was like, oh man, where's Garza? I like watching Angel Garza wrestle, and I like seeing Humberto Carrillo wrestle. I prefer Carrillo as kind of like a face, but obviously Santos Escobar needs his his stable kind of thing. So I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll bite. I'll dig it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm that fish and I see the hook and you see the piece of cheese on it. You're like, oh, that cheese looks so good and I kind of want to eat it. But I feel like if I eat it, I'll get dragged up to the shore and probably be bladed and eaten for dinner tonight. But you know what? Let's try not. I'm just kidding. But honestly, I love the Legado del Fantasma. I like the way they wrestle, and I really hope that they do keep getting tag team title opportunities because they're pretty good. But not tonight. And then also you have Pete Dunne and Tyler Bates. You know, I really honestly do like these guys, but once again, it's kind of like that thing where you kind of have two singles wrestlers kind of trying to fight for the gold, kind of like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, kind of like Kevin Owens teaming up with Randy Orton. It's just like one of those things where it's like, dude, like you guys are two singles wrestlers, and with the draft coming, and they're going to need a lot more singles wrestlers. Absolutely. Definitely. You have Roman Reigns on hiatus right now. He's taking a break. Well, like kind of like a much deserved break. But you never really had a guy, never really had someone on the WWE roster that kind of concentrated a lot of attention towards your product like Roman Reigns. So with Roman Reigns kind of being off the tube, you kind of be like, all right, now, let's kind of let these young guys come in here. Let's let everybody kind of have a chance to kind of prove themselves. You know what I mean? This is kind of what really propelled the Attitude Era into its success and the dynamo it is to this day. People to this day talk about the Attitude Era. I ask people all the time, I'm like, hey, dude, you watch WWE? They're like, yeah. Not recently, though. I watched it with Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, The Rock, Mankind, The Undertaker, and after that, people are kind of like, but so hopefully I'm thinking that this kind of brings kind of like new fans, kind of like, newly breeded fans to kind of like, enjoy what wrestling is, and it's an art form. So definitely, um, I want to see somebody definitely new, but I don't think Tyler Bates and Pete Dunne would, really kind of hold that up there. And next we have the Street Profits. The Street Profits, I feel like they're amazing. They're a great tag team. They actually have not had a tag team title run for a very, very, very long time. And to be honest, I think it's their chance. It's their turn. Like you have Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, once again, two singles wrestlers trying to be a tag team. I like it. I don't love it. But like I said, I was very surprised when they won that ladder match. I was like, dude, what the hell? I'm just kidding. No, but I was shocked. I was shocked. But honestly, for a tag team belt to be recognized and for the division to kind of be more kind of like larger than life. You kind of need to have a tag team representing that division that has great chemistry. And you don't get better chemistry than D'Angelo Dawkins and Martez Ford. Absolutely electric. Absolutely every match they fight in, your eyes are glued to the screen. So, being brutally honest, it would make sense to let the Street Profits win this number one contendership match and ultimately kind of dethrone Grayson Waller and Austin Theory short WWE Tag Team title run. You know what I mean? At Backlash. So, that's obviously what I kind of want to see happen. Next, we have the WWE Women's Championship. Bayley fighting Naomi. I would absolutely love to kind of go in depth of how this match is going to go. But I kind of have believed that because Tiffany Stratton, she lost to Naomi, she's going to find a way to come in and she's going to interrupt everything. I don't know if any of that comes to a surprise to you guys. If it does, obviously you guys aren't real true wrestling fans. No, I'm just kidding. But like, you can kind of see like that bait, kind of like that, like what WWE kind of left out there as a reason for Naomi to lose. So Naomi's gonna ultimately, this match is gonna get interfered with. I can't wait to watch it as soon as I get done with the pod. But I don't know, Tiffany Stratton right now, she's kind of over. She's a heavyweight in the women's division, and she's pissed. She feels like she got robbed of her tag team of her women's championship, title bout. And honestly, I would kind of like to see Tiffany Stratton and Bayley kind of go at it more than Naomi. So you can anticipate just some scrutiny, maybe just some fiddling with the match a little bit. I don't know if Tiffany Stratton attacks Naomi beforehand or if she pulls a distraction. And I have no idea what's going to happen. Can't wait to see. Can't wait to see how this match ends up because it really highly does have WWE Backlash women's title implications. So, totally excited to see that. Next, you have the AJ Styles, the phenomenal AJ Styles, against the LA Knight, #1 contendership for Cody Rhodes' WWE Undisputed Championship. Once again, this is going to be, I feel like this is going to be a great match. Like I've kind of talked about the podcast before, AJ Styles has not signed a new contract yet, so he could possibly be kind of using this as kind of like a farewell kind of tour. It would be awesome to see Styles in the match with Cody Rhodes and Backlash, but right now, honestly, I don't really see how that kind of makes sense. Like AJ Styles, he's heel. He's heel. That's probably the only reason why maybe WWE might chance it, because you're like, you know what? You have the ultimate baby face in Cody Rhodes. And then you have this guy, AJ Styles, biting and clawing his way, trying to get back up to the top. But it's just hard to count out the LA Knight, because right now I think WWE really wants him to kind of go over with the fans, and a lot of people claim they do. Although there's been a couple of doubters like Jim Ross, and I absolutely love Jim Ross, but he says the LA Knight, like, he's there, but he's not there yet. So JR, he's seen a lot of wrestling, and when he talks, you listen. So I kind of thought, I looked at it too. I was like, you know what? I looked at LA Knight's promo. I looked at the, kind of like how he comes out, to try to fight AJ Styles. And I don't think he's ready. I don't think he's ready yet to kind of hold a championship, let alone fight Cody Rhodes. So although I kind of have two picks. I have a I think should win, and then I have a he's going to win. Who's going to win is the LA Knight. Who I think should win is the phenomenal AJ Styles. That would make for a way better match to see AJ Styles against Cody Rhodes at at Backlash. So, but obviously that's my opinion. So, anyways, and to kind of cap this all off here, we have the Bloodline. We have the Bloodline, obviously, last Friday Night SmackDown. You saw Tama Tonga kind of take over, kind of come in during the ring and kind of be the new enforcer for Solo Sikoa's new generation, a young Bloodline. But and then you have the elders out, the elders of the tribe. Roman Reigns is gone filming a movie. The Rock is gone filming a movie. Right now, no one's watching you. No one's watching you. And do you want to prove yourself to have people watch you? Absolutely. And that's something Tama Tonga is going to do, Solo Sikoa. And I think eventually you're going to include Jacob Fatu as well. Recently signed with the WWE, creating this new generation bloodline. And I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be really, really good, because essentially after WWE WrestleMania 40 at Philadelphia, with Cody Rhodes winning and beating Roman Reigns, dethroning the tribal chief, a lot of people just left the bloodline dead in the water. A lot of people just be like, as without Roman being champion, what kind of leverage do you guys to do anything? What kind of momentum? What kind of confidence you guys have to kind of run amok on Monday Night Raw anymore without the tribal chief? And obviously, it's kind of cool that this is the kind of playing out the way it is. I think this is for the best for all these three superstars. Obviously, thinking that Fatu's going to join. But honestly, I kind of see, you saw on last Monday Night Raw, they interviewed Jey Uso before his match against Finn Balor. They was like, hey, like, your brother Jimmy, do you have any thoughts that he got attacked by Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga? And Jay was like, you know what? He's going to do his own. I'm going to focus on my match. And, whatever happens, happens. I can see the Usos kind of getting back together, but Jimmy's going to have to do some serious explaining of why he's been a complete jerk for these past couple of months, not following his brother, kind of leaving a blind eye to how Roman was toward everybody else in the bloodline. And then you also have Paul Heyman. What's going to happen to Paul Heyman? Honestly, I think, and this is absolutely speculation, I have not watched a minute of SmackDown. I've been talking to my beautiful people right here. I think that Paul Heyman is ultimately going to be taken out by the new generation, by the new bloodline. I think that he's going to get attacked. I think that they're going to knock him out. To be honest, because I feel like that would kind of make the most sense. I'm not trying to condemn Paul Heyman or wishing he gets his ass kicked, but I just see this happening because Paul Heyman is constantly trying to do the bidding for the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, and they're done with it. These are like These are like, these are like kids. Like, they're like, oh, I don't want to listen to this guy. This guy ain't my father. Like, you know what I mean? This guy ain't my wise man. Like, why is he here? Why is he telling me what to do? Why is he like trying to perpetuate someone else's will on what I want to do in terms of, trying to become the next tribal chief, which I feel like Solo Sikoa was trying to do. And that just brings up questions. That brings up questions, especially during the WWE draft. Is Solo Sikoa going to stay on SmackDown? Or is he going to go to Raw? Or is he going to go to WWE NXT? What I've kind of recently mentioned on the podcast before, that Solo Sikoa in recent terms have kind of had the reputation of kind of being a loser. And kind of being a really, like, he hasn't won a match since he beat John Cena at WrestleMania, a year ago. Hasn't won anything. So what does WWE have to do to get fans to think that this guy is going to be the next tribal chief? Because that's ultimately is going to that's exactly what's going to sell tickets. That's going to put butts in the seats. That's what's going to make people think that, oh my God, like, the bloodline isn't gone. The bloodline isn't dead. Solo Sikoa, like, he's going to do something, but honestly, I'm not a believer. I'm not a believer right now, basically because he hasn't really done anything under the tutelage of the tribal chief Roman Reigns. So it makes most sense, for me at least, for them to get drafted to WWE NXT to kind of run amok down there, kind of wreak havoc, and kind of just like, control the brand, kind of like what Roman did on SmackDown. And eventually, maybe they can find a way to kind of bring the bloodline kind of towards SmackDown when Roman Reigns comes back, or The Rock. But right now, if you're trying to bring these people, Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu, and Solo Sikoa's the new age bloodline, the new blood, the young bloodline, I don't even know what to call them. Definitely something of that line, But I don't know. I'm gonna have to see some more dominance from Solo Sikoa if he wants to portray himself as the next tribal chief. So, hey, WWE SmackDown is going to be pretty dope. Draft implications. Next week you have the draft. Definitely next Thursday. Next Thursday's show. So, it's before SmackDown. I'm probably going to do a nice little draft board. Obviously, next Thursday, you see the NFL draft happening. I'll probably do a WWE Smackdown Raw draft board. And, obviously, I love doing that kind of stuff. It's very, very fun. I do it all the time for NFL each year. So, yeah, it should be pretty awesome. So make sure you tune into that episode. It's going to be dope. Okay, so we have our segment 3. We're going to talk about from wrestling to Hollywood. Recently, Roman Reigns and The Rock have both left the WWE to kind of film their respected, cinemas that they want to get into. And also, we're going to kind of dive into some WWE superstars or just wrestlers in general that kind of made a jump from wrestling to features. So, hey, don't go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Let's, reiterate what we talked about. We had our segment 1. We talked about our Thursday night wrestling review. We talked about just implications heading toward Rebellion. We also talked about how Ring of Honor right now is just under good control under the Ring of Honor World Champion, Mark Briscoe, and also have how him and Griff Garrison kind of had like a nice little, kind of like a reunion. since the last time they fought was he was with his brother fighting for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. So, pretty cool. And also we have we talked about SmackDown, a nice little SmackDown preview. We have that match between AJ Styles and the LA Knight happening not as we speak, because I feel like, it's probably going to be the main event. And then you also have what's next for the Bloodline. Also, what's going to happen between Bailey and Naomi. And then you also have that WWE tag team title number one contendership between the Street Profits, Tyler Bates and Pete Dunne, AOP and Legado del Fantasma. Can't wait to see that match. But yeah, next we have our From Wrestling to Hollywood. Some pretty exciting stuff. Some superstars that obviously they paid their dues within the wrestling world. And yeah. But yeah, so let's get on into it. So one of the first wrestlers that definitely made a statement within, moving to features is you have The Rock. The Rock is definitely one of the best superstars in WWE history, WWF. Need I say more? And ultimately, you kind of had The Rock. I think The Rock's first movie was The Scorpion King, or he was on The Mummy, and then they kind of had that nice like little like spin-off, like, you know what I mean? But The Rock has also accomplished many other movies besides that. The Rock has been yeah, he was in The Mummy Returns. And then you have the 2002 Scorpion King, where you have that badass Godsmack song like I Slowed, obviously. And then you have him in The Rundown with Sean William Scott, and you have him with Walking Tall. To be honest, guys, one of my favorite underrated The Rock movies is definitely Walking Tall. Walking Tall is a movie that you kind of sit down on a Sunday night, Sunday evening, you see the sun going down, you're like, man, what to watch? There's no wrestling on the TV, what to watch? And then you just click on that clicker. Usually it's on like TBS or like TNT or FX, and you're like, oh my God, like I love watching Walking Tall. But, obviously that's one of my favorite The Rock Johnson movies. If you guys have a favorite Dwayne The Rock Johnson movie, hit it up on the chat at the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Let's just talk about The Rock, mate. Next, we also have, he was also in Fast and Furious. Hobbs and Shaw. He was featured in Fast and Furious 5, where he was trying to find Dominic Toretto, which is Vin Diesel's character. And honestly, Fast Five is definitely probably one of my favorite Fast and Furious movies as well. I love The Rock, definitely. And then also you see him in kind of like action movies, an action movie that probably a lot of people don't really realize that he played, because he was more like a darker kind of character. Was Faster. Faster, he was essentially kind of like a brother of a kind of like a bank robbing scandal, kind of like a bank robbing group. And he was ultimately kind of condemned to death. And then he came back to. He didn't really come back to life. They shot him in the back of the head. The bullet went ricocheted off like one of his like neck bones or something like that. But then he came back and he found everybody, and he was like just like bam, and he was like killing everybody, serving justice, kind of like that. Kind of, I don't want to say like a Bible story, but kind of like that kind of like that dark angel kind of thing, like where he came back and he thought what he was doing was worth it. But I don't know, I thought that was pretty badass. And with them, and next we have John Cena. John Cena also is a WWE superstar that absolutely killed it, especially in the in the cinema entertainment industry. um for John Cena, I remember watching him in The Marine. The Marine, he was absolutely stellar. He was great. I liked it. I watched it a lot. That was like one of the movies that I remember buying on DVD for the first time. And I know I'm aging myself here, because when DVD came out, I was like, what? You can skip chapters? What the? Like, because before that, you kind of had video cassette and you had to rewind it. And then you'd get a movie from the movie store, from Blockbuster or Superstar. And then it was like, hey, be kind, rewind, and you're like, oh, like I don't want to rewind, but I'm gonna have to do it because I don't want to be a jerk. So, but definitely I remember watching The Marine like kind of come out here. But I don't know, The Rock, well, not The Rock, John Cena has been in a lot of good movies. Recently he's kind of been with kind of like the comedy. I don't know if anybody's been watching there's something called Vacation Friends. They have a Vacation Friends 1 and 2, and it's kind of kind of like a raunchy comedy. Obviously, if you're looking for PG entertainment, that's probably not what you want to watch. But then you also have John Cena in the Fast and Furious. He also joined the Fast and the Furious as well. John Cena's also been in a bunch of like family movies and stuff like that. To see John Cena kind of like as like a cameo in terms of like movies is not really kind of like not really so like weird. Like, does if that makes any sort of sense. But honestly, John Cena's I don't know, he's a pretty good actor. I think he does that really, really well. And of course, he was on Suicide Squad. He's also on Peacemaker. He was on Playing on Fire. He was on Daddy's Home 2. And he was on Blockers, where he was a insecure father, letting his daughter kind of. I watched that movie, and I think his wife was Leslie Mann. Leslie Mann, usually like famous when it comes to like the Adam Sandler movies, kind of thing like that. But he was like an insecure dad, letting his daughter kind of go off into the world of college, kind of being a little bit, kind of tied up about him going to letting his daughter go to prom, where her prom, where his daughter and her friends vowed that they would, kind of take this next step in their chapter of life in terms of like college, I guess you could say. I'm trying to keep this PG here because what I'm trying to say, I can't just flat out be like, look, like they were ready to like, lose their V card on, high school prom. Like I can't really, further exasperate that. But ultimately it was a really good movie, and John Cena, he's a baller, man. He's a great baller, especially when it comes to like, wrestling and movies and stuff like that. Next we have Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin is definitely have been growingly one of my very, very favorite movie stars. And it's not like he could obviously, I don't know if anybody's watched The Condemned, where he's like one of those guys, he's basically fighting for his life, where he's this wrongly convicted US veteran, sentenced to life in prison, and he basically whoever is the last one on the island survives and you're free. But also Stone Cold, he was in a couple other movies. I don't know if anybody watched the version of The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler, where he was essentially kind of like a Texas, that kind of like a bigot and ignorant, a little racism sprinkled in there. But ultimately, he played a pretty good role. He was able to kind of do it. Obviously, Stone Cold Steve Austin is not racist, obviously, but he was kind of like that. You can kind of portray him in any film as like the bad guy or the good guy. Also, I don't know if anybody, I know I keep starting off with that phrase just because I'm kind of near the older generation, so I'm not sure a lot of you young alpha Gen Z kind of guys like or kind of guys or girls kind of watch this kind of movie. But also there he was in Grown Ups 2, where he was Lenny Faders, which was Adam Sandler's character. He was kind of like his high school bully, and ultimately the movie kind of showed like a morality of when you get older, you grow, and obviously bullies probably have a lot of regrets. I don't know if anybody's has been bullied or anything like that, but ultimately he was that guy to kind of be like, you know what? Let's make this movie kind of have like this little sprinkled in of morality and be like, look, like if you have a way, if you have a reason, you gotta you gotta burn all your grudges because holding a grudge in life doesn't really do anything. It hurts you more than the actual person. Kind of like that thing where like, you know, let's just be good human beings, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just be good human beings in this world because this life pretty crazy. All right, next we have Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Hollywood Hulk Hogan was definitely in a lot of movies going toward the late 80s, 90s kind of thing. Hulk Hogan was like a huge star in terms of like wrestling and stuff like that. He was bestly known as Thunder Lips in Rocky 3, which also got him fired from the WWE, and which he admitted on the Stone Cold Steve Austin show. But then you also have a No Holds Barred, which was another movie. You had Mr. Nanny, Suburban Commando, also direct to video pilot movie Thunder in Paradise, which spawned a 22 episode television series from the creators of Baywatch. Baywatch, one of those shows that makes me feel old again. I'm like, oh, David Hasselhoff, like I remember those guys. And I guess he also had a cameo in Gremlins 2. So yeah, honestly, good for him. Next we have Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant was kind of like one of those guys that were also kind of like larger than life. he was part of the wrestling scene as well as you know, kind of like an icon, and not just Andre the Giant. I remember the only movie that I really remember watching Andre the Giant was the Princess Bride, where that guy was like, I'm Antonio de la Sera, you killed my family, and now it's time to die. Like I don't know, I remember watching that. It was I remember watching. I think it was on. Oh God, WGN or something like that. Like one of those old movies that like you turn out late at night at like 2 a.m. and you're like, ah, man, I'm so bored, Because it's either that or like you're watching paid programming where someone's trying to sell you some jewelry for like three times its worth. And you're like, oh man, that gem looks so cool. Like, oh, I can imagine giving my wife a rock like that. Like, that's crazy. No, but I remember, I don't know, Andre the Giant was bigger than life. Definitely, definitely in movies. And he had that amazing anybody want a peanut? Kind of like that I really didn't really necessarily knew where that came from, but I remember recalling that phrase kind of like being like a cornerstone of some of the movies that my friends watched and stuff like that. So I don't know. Andre the Giant obviously jumped into features after some good old fashioned wrestling. All right, next we have Dave Bautista. Dave Bautista recently has been in a lot of other movies besides you obviously see him as Drax the Destroyer in Guardians of the Galaxy, where he kills it. He was also in the Avengers Endgame. He was in the Avengers Infinity. He was, basically Marvel. He was Marvel bound, and he was an amazing actor. He did good, and he was very very funny, very very funny. I really like to see the animal kind of do that with that. And then he's also in a couple of other movies like Stuber, My Spy, and he was also in Dune, which is also pretty cool. And there was also like I think it was called The Knock at the Cabin Door or something like that, where he came essentially from the future and he had to kill one of these family members to kind of prevent like an apocalyptic war based on this person living or something like that. Kind of dark, but obviously love seeing Batista as Drax, so it was pretty badass. And next you have the man. Next you have Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns has been confirmed that he's going to star in a Hollywood movie with Keanu Reeves, Seth Rogen's, Kike Perry. So, should be interesting. It's an action like comedy kind of, it's called Good Fortune. I'm honestly, just because Roman Reigns is in it, I'm gonna check it out. I know Roman Reigns was also kind of in, I think Hobbs and Shaw. Where they kind of needed a place to stay, and Hobbs was like, I know a place in my, hometown of, Hawaii and the Samoa Islands and stuff like that. And you saw Roman Reigns kind of act then, which is, pretty awesome, pretty super cool. So hey, Roman Reigns gonna kill it again. Next, you have The Miz. Of course, you see The Miz in the remake of the Marine, and then you also see him on the TV show of Miz and Mrs. I love The Miz. I love the way he's portrayed. Honestly, I think him kind of being on that TV show of Total Divas with Maurice, and also kind of branching out and kind of having his own little Miz and Mrs. kind of helped him kind of propel to be that total like forever babyface. I don't think he can ever come back to like being the giant like heel he's ever like kind of been. And he was also on the Real World that kind of helped propel his wrestling career. But ultimately, The Miz, I don't mind watching The Miz. So yeah. Hope you guys like that. It was a nice. I don't know. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool that these superstars are like they're kind of more than meets the eye. Sure, they can kick ass in the ring, do some awesome submissions, and jump off the top rope and do a 350 splash or whatever, and they're larger than life in the professional wrestling industry. But it's always cool to kind of see them like kind of pursue their other passions. Kind of like acting. So, that's cool. All right, we have a fourth and final segment. Obviously, I will not be with you guys this weekend, but I'm going to give you guys the wrestling news roundup, give you something to think about over the weekend. So, just something to kind of ponder and something to, just in case someone brings up wrestling, they're like, what's going on in the wrestling world? You'd be like, I watched Eric's Friday night wrestling news roundup. So, I'm ready to do it. So, hey, let's jump on into it.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about. Our segment one, we talked about our Thursday night wrestling review. We talked about Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling, as well as Mark Briscoe carrying the company. And our segment two, we talked about our WWE Friday Night Smackdown Preview, which I hope you all are enjoying, but kind of keeping me on a nice little side screen. I'm your side chick in terms of wrestling. I'm just kidding. No. Terrible metaphor in comparison. Let's just scratch that. Let's just restart. Let's rewind. Segment one, we talked about our Thursday night, and I'm just kidding. And then we talked about our segment three was talking about how Roman Reigns has made it jump into wrestling features. And we also talked about some WWE or just wrestlers in general that also did the same thing that Roman's doing, like The Rock, Drax the Destroyer, Dave Batista, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, The Miz, John Cena, etc., etc. And just kind of cap it all off, guys. We have our wrestling news roundup. So hope you guys enjoyed. Give you guys a little bit of wrestling factoids heading toward the weekend, so you don't miss me too much. But yeah, let's do it. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, ladies and gentlemen, is undergoing knee surgery. So that just means that he's probably going to be gone more than 3 months. He's going to be gone for the foreseeable future. Definitely not a year. Definitely nothing less than 6 months. Because something like an ACL, MCL, obviously, if you're a sports fan of football, one of those injuries could probably be the end of you. You know what I mean? Like having one of those surgeries that, after that, I know like it's surgically repaired, but it's never the same. Your body is never the same after, kind of like, an injury like that. So Seth Rollins is going to be gone more than we thought. But hey, we're still, thinking about our boy Seth Rollins. Next, we have Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny, Dominic Mysterio has called out Bad Bunny, kind of having that bad juju, kind of having that bad taste left in his mouth from WrestleMania 39, where Bad Bunny kind of helped Rey Mysterio defeat his, Dirty Dom. And I guess he's trying to challenge Bad Bunny, which is, obviously good for the company. It's cool. Bad Bunny loves wrestling. He loves coming out to these shows, to these pay-per-views, and kind of like, getting that chance to be like, okay, cool. I get to, kind of have my boyhood dream because he was like a die-hard wrestling fan, besides being an amazing performing artist and musical talent. But so you can expect Bad Bunny probably feuding with Dominic Mysterio. I don't know if Backlash is a big enough. I can see him come back at SummerSlam. I can see Bad Bunny maybe coming in during SummerSlam, maybe when the Judgment Day decides to turn on Damian Priest, because you watched on Monday Night Raw. How Damian Priest saw McDonough, he saw Mysterio, and he saw Finn Balor attack Jay, and he's like, dude, like, why are you doing this? Like, why is this happening? I did not tell you guys to do this. This is not under my wishes. So, which means that Damian Priest is kind of heading toward like a baby face. I can imagine him like being kind of stuck in a situation where ultimately for the Judgment Day to kind of breed, you kind of need to kick out the world heavyweight champion, Damian Priest, which also, kind of lets Finn Balor challenge for that title. But then it also gives Damian Priest a chance to kind of team up with his main man, Bad Bunny, to kind of, to fight the Judgment Day. So, it's pretty cool to see what's going to happen in terms of that. Next we have recently in an interview, Booker T, two-time WWE Hall of Famer with the Harlem Heat, also just by himself, King Booker, the five-time WCW champion. But ultimately, he kind of said that the Hardy Boys belong and should be in the WWE. I'm an attitude era, guys. I get it. I love Matt Hardy. I love Jeff Hardy. Both of them, in terms of nostalgia, yeah, it's cool. But right now, I feel like WWE should really be focusing on their kind of young tag team talents, like the Street Profits. I don't know if they're going to keep Grayson Waller and Austin Theory together, Legado del Fantasma, the LWO, et cetera. And bringing the Hardy Boys back into the tag team picture just kind of leaves more questions more than answers. And like I said, not hating on it. I loved watching Jeff as a singles, brother Nero. Yeah, Matt, the broken Matt Hardy was pretty cool. But honestly, right now, I don't want to sound like a jerk and be like WWE doesn't need you. But no, like obviously they'll find a way to kind of put them into the storyline. But Booker T, I don't know. Like I know you love your boys, but I think they get better successful somewhere else. All right. Next, you have a battle royal on Monday Night Raw. Battle royal in Columbus, Ohio, is going to feature Becky Lynch, Ivy Nile, a couple other wrestling WWE women's wrestlers. Also, it's going to have Zoe Stark, Candice LeRae, Tegan Knox, Natalia, Nia Jax, Liv Morgan, Shayna Baszler, etc. So to determine the new WWE World's Heavyweight Champion, Women's World Champion, and I like it. Like believe me, I love myself a nice little battle royal. Grab your pitchforks and torches. Like, it's cool, but why does it seem like they're kind of forcing it? I feel like I kind of mentioned before in the other podcast, that if this was like Roman Reigns, they would let Roman Reigns take a break from a couple of pay-per-views, just letting him cut promo after promo after promo. But they kind of, Rhea Ripley kind of said it herself. She kind of went candid a little bit. And she was like, they told me to vacate my WWE World's Women's Championship. And so I kind of think about it. I'm like, oh man, that just means that they probably have some plans heading towards SummerSlam. They probably had some plan to happen tonight. I don't know if Alexa Bliss is going to come back as Sister Abigail, but there's a reason why they kind of wanted an already set champion. Because honestly, if this was any other wrestling thing, or if this happened any other time, um, I don't know why they're not doing like a WWE World Women's like a tournament, kind of like a King of the Ring kind of thing. Like that would be pretty badass. Absolutely, but a battle royals are kind of like, and I don't want to sound like a jerk because obviously the Royal Rumble is completely different. Becoming the number one contender to fight at the main event of WrestleMania is different. But I just feel like battle royals, they can be so cheap. They can be so cheap. Like it gets to the point where like someone gets eliminated and you're like, oh my God, really? She got eliminated? It doesn't really allow the presence of fundamental professional wrestling to kind of be alive during the match. And us as the fans, that's what I want to see to happen before you kind of crown a champion for the women's division, for the men's division, for the tag team division, for the women's tag team division. Like you don't want to see a battle royal for the championship. I'm sorry, you don't. I really, I forsake this. I don't want this to happen. This is not my choice. No, I'm just kidding. No. But it's going to be interesting to see what, how they approach it and what happens. And, hey, whatever happens, happens. Obviously, I'm just a fan. I'm just an innocent bystander. WWE should hire me as a writer. I would make a killing. I would change the business, definitely for sure. If not, I'm going to go to AEW. Just kidding, though. Anyway, okay, so we have Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona suffered a torn pec this year, and obviously he was on Impact Wrestling to kind of help Steph D. Launder to kind of have that number one contendership to fight for Jordan Grace's TNA Knockouts Women's Championship. But now you kind of see him going out, man. It's kind of sad to say because he's like, he's Mr. Independent Wrestling. Ever since he left the WWE, he's done nothing but better. Absolutely. Like he's won championship after championship. This guy's killing it. The formerly known as Zack Ryder, the bro, woo woo woo, with what was that other guy? Oh, what was his tag team partner's name? And it's gonna kill me. Mojo Rally, where he was that guy. They were kind of like that tag team, like kind of like a joke, like kind of thing. But he went out of the WWE sector and he went out and he ruled ass. Right now, he's kicking ass. He's killing it. He's successful, and it just kind of sucks that he's, he torn his pec, underwent surgery today, and he's going to be out for a minimum a year. So, sad day for Matt Cardona. He's going to come back super awesome and probably be as better and, stronger and better as ever. So, obviously, we wish the best for him. and his wife, Chelsea Gray, which is kind of crazy because I knew there was speculation that he might make a comeback to WWE because he kind of has that ties with Green. And I guess during WWE WrestleMania, he was kind of backstage. So I don't know, should be interesting. Well, guys, that was my show. Hope you guys liked it on a Friday night. Hope you guys are, who aren't watching my show, found something better to do. I guess. No, just kidding, no. Enjoy your Friday night, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy your weekend. Have a fun but safe weekend. It's going to be pretty awesome. It's going to be on Southern California. We're expecting sunny skies. Super awesome. I can't wait to, fill up the little pool for the kids. Let them like jump around and play. Probably fill up some inner tubes and, kind of have that, kind of that family fun outside, because you never know when you're going to have it. Live every day like it's your last. That's how I feel like. Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show, and leave a review. Leave us feedback. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. It can be positive. Love positivity. Much like the GSMC Sports Network, we love peace, love, and positivity. That's kind of like my motto that I kind of want to force upon the network. I know, like they're like, oh, the GSMC, they promote this. Like, oh, that's just that crazy guy from the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. Like, don't worry about that guy. That guy, Anyways, so we also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter/X, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. And once again, if I have not made you a wrestling fan by now, remember we have baseball, football, basketball. We just have sports. And we also have other podcasts on the GSMC Podcasting Network. So, go ahead and check it out. Be a part of our nice little bloodline we have here. We have a gang load of amazing entertainers here on our podcasting spotlight that I urge you guys to kind of check out. Definitely won't regret it. Absolutely. You find out that'll probably be the best decision you've ever made. Best decision. If you look next to your significant partner and you're like, oh, I married that person, be like, you know what, I'm happy I chose that person. You should choose us. No. But anyways, give us a whirl. I think you'll like it. All right. Well, once again, thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. And hey, have a phenomenal day and have an amazing, safe, beautiful, productive weekend.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to